In Venezuela, delegates of the Colombian government and the Second Marquetalia, one of the largest groups of FARC dissidents, begin a new round of peace talks. In Palestine, social movements reported that there are at least 21,000 Palestinian children missing in Gaza amidst Israel's genocidal war. And in Russia, government authorities described the shelling of Sevastopol and the Dagestan as barbaric, accusing Washington of killing Russian children. Hello and welcome to From the South. I'm Alejandra Garcia from teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. On Monday, the Vice President of the United Socialist Party of Venezuela, Diosdado Cabello, condemned that sectors of the extreme right are seeking the intervention of the U.S. as a way to recover the national economy. During the checkup of the 1-10-7 machinery ahead of the presidential elections of July 28th, Cabello assured that Venezuelans' internal issues must be solved only by the Venezuelan people. At the same time, Diosdado Cabello warned that the extreme right wing only pretends to control the country for its own interest and not for the benefit of the people. Likewise, Diosdado Cabello assured that the national government has the best electoral structure to warrant a revolutionary victory on July 28th. On Monday in Venezuela, delegates of the government of Colombia and the Second Marquetalia, one of the largest groups of dissidents of the Revolutionary Armed Force of Colombia, FARC, began a new round of peace talks. In this context, both delegations met in order to promote changes and democratic reforms, focus on peace of the people and the territories, that to begin debates around the members of the group and the overall peace policy promoted by the Colombian government. In this regard, as part of President Gustavo Petro's policy, his administration is engaged in dialogues with the National Liberation Army and the self-proclaimed center majority of the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia. During his intervention in the event, the ambassador of Venezuela in Colombia reiterated their commitment to peace.
Venezuela, as host of this first round of negotiations, takes this opportunity to reiterate its commitment to continue working vigorously for the reconciliation of our beloved Colombia and to make our Latin America and the Caribbean a territory of peace, union, and prosperity. Caracas, June 24, 2024.
The chief of the Colombian government delegation, Armando Novoa, said that the conflicts with the armed groups worsened due to the improper implementation of peace agreements by previous governments.
Ninguno de esos conflictos.
None of these conflicts arose from the installation of current President Petro's government, but were inherited from the precarious and regrettable circumstances in which the country was left, among other reasons due to an improper implementation of the 2016 peace agreement.
For his part, the former member of the FARC, Iván Márquez, affirmed that the dissident group Second Marquetalia has all the disposition to contribute to the achievement of peace in Colombia.
Today we want to state that the Second Marquetalia Bolivarian Army under my command and its collective leadership has all the disposition to contribute to the common achievement of peace for Colombia, which we inscribe within the more general purposes of political, economic, social, cultural, and environmental change demanded by the historical moment our country is going through.
In Colombia, authorities reported that 3 soldiers resulted injured following an attack with explosives. The incident occurred in the village of Puente Vélez in Jamundí's rural area. The army reported that the officers were not seriously injured and that it is enforcing security measures with additional troops in the region. For the moment, authorities have not provided concrete details about the perpetrators, although it is suspected that dissidents of the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia are behind the attack. On Sunday, Peruvian media reported that the prosecutor's office opened an investigation against a group of 20 military personnel for attempted homicide in relation to the repression of the December 2022 anti-government protests in the city of Ayacucho that left 10 dead and 20 wounded. According to the prosecutor's office, the high number of seriously wounded by bullet impacts confirms that there was a pattern in the behavior of the soldiers in charge of containing the demonstrators, which contradicts the version of the implicated soldiers who maintained that they only fired into the air and not against the demonstrators. In this sense, the prosecutor's office formalized the preparatory investigation against at least 7 officers in the highest rank and one of the national police as alleged direct perpetrators of aggravated homicide with malice in degree of attempt. Meanwhile, Peruvian President Dina Boluarte began her trip to the People's Republic of China, where the head of state is scheduled to meet with President Xi Jinping. During the visit, President Boluarte aims to expand and strengthen their ties with China and her country's main trading partner. The trip includes important political and business meetings in 3 strategic cities, where an agreement will also be signed to train 20,000 young professionals, women and small and medium-sized entrepreneurs in new information technologies such as artificial intelligence. In Costa Rica, 1 out of every 3 violent deaths of women registered is a femicide. Feminist organizations and lawmakers called on the executive branch to declare a national emergency. The Observatory of Gender Violence Against Women and Access to Justice reported 29 violent deaths of women from the beginning of 2024 to June 13th. The organization assures that there are 18 additional pending cases awaiting confirmation. Women's rights defenders also pointed out that femicides did not have the media coverage of other cases of violence and feared their occurrence in being normalized. In Haiti, the government confirmed that 1,000 police officers will leave Kenya for Port-au-Prince on Monday to join the multinational security support mission. In this way, the Kenyan forces will lead the United Nations-backed mission to address violence by criminal groups in the Caribbean country. The mission was approved by the United Nations Security Council in October, with the United States as the main financial endorser, but its implementation has been delayed due to domestic opposition in Kenya. In turn, human rights groups have accused the Kenyan police using excessive force and carrying out unlawful killings and reminded of the many human rights violations committed during the previous foreign missions in Haiti. Also in Haiti, after an intense 2-day government meeting in Port-au-Prince, Prime Minister Gary Conille announced new measures aimed at achieving tangible advances in security for the people. The Prime Minister urged his ministers to inform him of any decisions related to job restructuring, emphasizing the need for action based on concrete results. Conille encouraged the implementation of novel initiatives and consultation with other members of the government before making crucial decisions to maintain smooth and effective communication. On Monday, in the United States, health authorities announced that the avian influenza outbreak continues to generate alarm as it spreads rapidly in dairy cattle. In this sense, they recognize that the virus has caused some collateral damage, spreading also to poultry farms and infecting more than 90 flocks in 12 states of the country. For their part, authorities so far confirmed 21 cases in cats in 9 states since the outbreak was first detected in late March. Precisely, the scientific community reported that avian influenza, known as H5N1, can be transmitted rapidly among mammals, primarily dogs and cats. Let's take a short break, but remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you will find news in different formats, news updates and more. All the stories coming up, stay with us. Welcome back. In Palestine, social movements informed that there are at least 21,000 Palestinian children missing as Israel continues bombing the Gaza Strip. The international organization Save the Children warned that occupation troops kidnapped many children during the displacement of Palestinian families. It is estimated that at least 17,000 minors are separated from their relatives, while another 4,000 are buried under the rubble or in unmarked graves. The organization also stated that the reuniting children with their families is difficult due to the Israeli aggressions, which also restrict access to the occupied territories. Since October 2023, the Israeli regime has killed more than 14,000 minors in Gaza. In Palestine, the Colonization and World Resistance Commission accused the government of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of intensifying the theft of Palestinian land in the occupied West Bank. A communique issued by the institution denounced that since the arrival to power of the cabinet at the end of 2022, radical changes were approved to promote the expansion plans of the settlements, occupying and stealing more and more Palestinian lands. The commission also condemned the forced displacement of civilians in various communities to expand settlements in the occupied territories, actions considered illegal by the international community and several United Nations Security Council resolutions. To date, Israel has invaded close to 2,700 hectares of land in the occupied West Bank. In Palestine, Israeli forces detained more Palestinians in the occupied West Bank. Organizations defending the rights of Palestinian prisoners confirmed that the Israeli occupation forces carried out a series of arrests in the West Bank, detaining at least 20 people, including minors and high school students. They also denounced the ill treatment accompanying the arrest, including beatings, threats against their families, and damage to the property. These organizations denounced that the number of Palestinians arrested in illegal raids since October 2023 amounts to more than 9,300 in the West Bank. Monday, Iran hosted the 9th meeting of foreign ministers of the Asia Cooperation Dialogue. In this way, Iran's acting foreign minister Ali Bagheri Kani announced the hosting of 41 diplomatic delegations at the working meeting, while he stated that the event provides a platform for the strengthening cooperation among Asian countries and shows the Asian desire for multilateralism and inclusiveness. Within the framework, the Iranian delegation saluted the brave and defenseless people of Gaza and strongly condemned the continuation of the Zionist regime's crimes and the inaction of the international community regarding the genocide during the past 8 months. On the second anniversary of the Melilla massacre, the Moroccan prosecutor's office decides to close the investigation. The incident, regarding as the most deadly ever recorded at a European Union border, occurred on June 24, 2022, when 27 mostly Sudanese nationals died during a conflict with Moroccan and Spanish security forces at the Melilla border fence, as reported by the Moroccan Association for Human Rights. In the aftermath, and although independent investigations showed that there was deliberate intent on the agents, as well as violence and abuse against the migrants by the Spanish police, the Moroccan Public Ministry concluded that there was no disproportionate use of force or any other human rights violations, with Spain concluding its own investigation in a similar way last year. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi was sworn in as a member of the 18th Lok Sabha lower house, marking his third consecutive term. The first session, which runs until July 3rd, is expected to preview Modi's plans for his third term and the likely formal appointment of Rahul Gandhi as leader of the opposition, a post vacant since 2014. Indian lawmakers began to take the oath of office on Monday with the opening of Parliament after an electoral setback forced Prime Minister Narendra Modi to form a coalition government for the first time in a decade. Modi's first 2 terms ended in landslide victories for his Bharatiya Janata Party, allowing his government to pass laws in Parliament with little debate. For his part, Rahul Gandhi, 54, defied analyst expectations and helped his party nearly double its parliamentarian numbers, its best result since Modi came to power a decade ago. The South Korean government reported that at least 22 people died after a fire broke out at a battery factory 45 kilometers from the capital, Seoul. A member of the fire department, Kim Jin-jung, told reporters that the identification of the victims is difficult due to the burns, warning that 20 foreigners are among the deceased, 18 of them Chinese, one from Laos, and one person of unknown nationality. Authorities reported that the fire started at the second plant in Hwaseong City, where more than 100 people were working at the factory. They also indicated that at least 2 of the injured had been treated for serious wounds at the health centers close to the factory. The fire department started the search for missing persons and assured that they will investigate the cause of the fire. We have a final short break coming up, but before we invite you to join our WhatsApp community for our English-speaking audience. You can scan the QR code on screen to join directly and share the link to reach more people. Constant news coverage of Latin America and the Caribbean, as well as the rest of the world. Stay connected and informed with teleSUR. Final short break. Don't go away. Welcome back to From the South. On Monday, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov called the shelling of Sevastopol and Dagestan barbaric and accused Washington of killing Russian children. In this context, the Russian government stressed that the involvement of the U.S. in the attack on areas in southern Crimea, where Russian civilians were killed, will not go unpunished. For his part, Peskov assured that the measures to be taken would be known in time, while the Russian Foreign Ministry announced that it had summoned Lynn Tracy, the U.S. ambassador in Moscow, to inform her of retaliatory measures. In this regard, the Kremlin spokesman also pointed out that Washington bears the same responsibility as the Kyiv regime for this atrocity. In Russia, authorities reported that the death toll after terrorist attacks against religious institutions and a police station in the south rose to 20. The health ministry also reported that at least 46 people were injured after the attack in the Dagestan region. The Russian Federal Security Service is currently investigating and identifying the extent of the terrorist attacks carried out with foreign weapons. For his part, the head of the Russian Republic of Dagestan, Sergei Melikov, paid tribute to the victims and decreed 3 days of mourning that include the suspension of cultural events. Nicaraguan President Daniel Ortega expressed on Monday his government's support and condolences to Vladimir Putin and the Russian people for the attacks suffered by the Slavic nation during the weekend. In an official letter sent to the Russian head of state, Ortega rejected what he described as a criminal terrorist attacks on different areas of the Russian Federation. In another part of his letter, the Central American president expressed his support and condolences to the Russian people and to all brothers who continue to be victims of what he called a fascist insanity. On Sunday, the third day of the Euro Cup 2024 group stage kicked off with a 1-1 draw between Germany and Switzerland. This way, the favorite Group A secured the first place with 7 out of 9 possible points, while Switzerland finished second and secured their presence in the next elimination phase with 5 units. For the Germans, Niklas Füllkrug scored his second goal of the competition to tie the game and avoid a defeat. As part of Group B, Croatia will face Italy in a game where the former is forced to win to ensure its direct qualification to the next phase. For its part, Italy could settle for a draw to leave its opponent without aspirations. Croatia has only 1 point so far after following up their defeat by Group B winner Spain with a 2-2 draw against Albania. Without a victory so far, Monday's game will be the most win match for Luka Modric's team. We move on to the Copa America now, where on Sunday, Team Uruguay made its debut, one of the big favorites to take the trophy home. In a match played in South Florida, the Uruguayan team won 3-1 against Panama. With this triumph, the South American squad collected its first 3 points and will now face Bolivia in the next game. In this context, on Monday, Brazil will make its debut and try to catch up with Argentina and Uruguay, which have already won their respective first games. On Sunday evening, southeastern Brazilians of Ingai town celebrated the 92nd edition of the St. John's Baptist Bonfire Festival. In 1931, a lightning struck and burned down almost the whole church of Ingai, ushering the festival, which centers around the burning of a 38-meter structure. Inhabitants started preparing the event 3 months in advance by harnessing wood from reforestation projects. The festival, who also includes fireworks display, gathers up 20,000 people in Ingai every year. Participants and contributors to the Bonfire Festival shared their views.
Lightning struck the church, so the people made a promise to build a bonfire. They used to build a bonfire at the church door. It was small. It came in an ox cart. The firewood came from the forest. We didn't have any eucalyptus to use.
Our team is approximately 13 people. 3 months ago, we started gathering firewood, bringing it in, and finished making the fire 15 days ago.
This is too much emotion here. The most beautiful thing is being here at the bonfire. It's a beautiful construction. The symbolism is very good too. Religious, it's very good. It's exciting to be here at the Bonfire Festival.
We have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net and join us on social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram and TikTok as well. For Telesur English, I'm Alejandra Garcia. Thank you for watching.